Sarah Mitchell wiped down the marble countertop in the executive suite one more time. Her yellow cleaning gloves squeaked against the polished surface. It was past 9 in the evening, and the 47th floor was supposed to be empty. She hummed softly while working, thinking about her daughter Emma, waiting at home. Emma needed new shoes for school, but that would have to wait until next month. Sarah was good at waiting. At 52 years old, she had learned patience the hard way. Her husband had left when Emma was just 3, and since then it had been just the two of them. The cleaning job at Harrison Industries paid enough to keep them fed and housed. That was more than many single mothers could say. She pushed her cart toward the corner office. The nameplate read Alexander Harrison, Chief Executive Officer. Sarah had cleaned this office for 3 years, but had never actually met the man. He was always gone by the time her shift started. Tonight, however, the door was slightly open. Sarah knocked gently and called out hello. No answer. She pushed the door wider and stepped inside. The office was massive with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. And there on a leather couch lay a man in an expensive suit. His face was pale and covered in sweat. Sarah rushed over and knelt beside him. "Sir, are you all right?" The man's eyes fluttered open. He looked to be in his late 50s with silver hair and strong features. Even in distress, he carried an air of dignity. His hand clutched his chest and he gasped for breath. Heart, Sarah thought immediately. Her father had died of a heart attack when she was 30. She recognized the signs. The man tried to speak, but couldn't form words. His lips were turning blue. Sarah had taken a CPR course years ago when Emma was born. She remembered the instructor saying that sometimes when someone stops breathing, you have to give rescue breaths. But this man was still breathing, just barely. Then she remembered something else the instructor had mentioned. Sometimes the airway gets blocked and you need to help open it. She tilted his head back gently and checked his airway. He was struggling so hard to breathe. Without thinking about protocols or propriety, Sarah did what she had to do. She pinched his nose, sealed her lips over his, and gave 2 quick breaths. His chest rose and fell. She pulled back, and suddenly he gasped deeply. Air rushed into his lungs. Color slowly began returning to his face. Sarah grabbed her phone and called 911. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was steady. She gave the address and floor number and stayed on the line. The man on the couch reached up and grabbed her hand. His grip was weak, but there was desperation in his eyes. "Thank you," he whispered. "Don't talk," Sarah said gently, "just breathe slowly." She held his hand and kept talking to him softly, telling him help was coming, that he was going to be fine. She told him about Emma and how she was studying to be a nurse. She talked about anything to keep him conscious and calm. The paramedics arrived within 10 minutes. They loaded Alexander Harrison onto a stretcher. One of them asked Sarah what happened. She explained everything quickly and efficiently. The paramedic nodded with approval and said she probably saved his life. As they wheeled him away, Mr. Harrison looked back at her. His eyes met hers, and something passed between them. Gratitude, yes, but something else too. Recognition, maybe. The recognition that in our darkest moments strangers can become angels. Sarah finished her shift that night in a daze. She rode the bus home and climbed the 3 flights to their small apartment. Emma was asleep on the couch with her textbooks scattered around her. Sarah covered her daughter with a blanket and kissed her forehead. Then she sat in the kitchen with a cup of tea and let herself shake. 2 days later, Sarah was cleaning the 32nd floor when her supervisor found her. "Mrs. Mitchell, you need to come with me." Sarah's heart sank. Was she being fired? Had she done something wrong by being in the executive suite? She followed her supervisor to the elevator. They rode up to the 47th floor. Sarah had never been called up here during business hours. The hallways were full of people in expensive suits. Everyone seemed to stare at her in her cleaning uniform. Her supervisor led her to Mr. Harrison's office. The secretary smiled warmly and opened the door. Inside, Alexander Harrison sat behind his massive desk. He looked much better than the last time she had seen him. He stood when she entered. "Mrs. Mitchell, please sit down." Sarah perched nervously on the edge of a leather chair. Her supervisor had left and closed the door. Mr. Harrison came around the desk and sat in the chair beside her, not behind the desk of power, but next to her as an equal. "The doctors tell me I had a severe allergic reaction," he said. "I had eaten something at a business dinner that I did not know I was allergic to. My throat was closing up. If you had not found me when you did, if you had not acted so quickly." He paused, and Sarah saw his eyes were moist. "I would not be here." Sarah did not know what to say. "You don't need to thank me," she finally managed. "I just did what anyone would do." Mr. Harrison shook his head. "No, not anyone would have done what you did. Most people would have panicked or run to get help and wasted precious time. You stayed calm and you saved my life." He reached into his desk and pulled out an envelope. "This is not payment for a life," he said quickly, "because a life cannot be bought. But I want to do something for you." Inside the envelope, Sarah found a check. Her eyes widened at the amount. It was enough to cover a year of rent and Emma's college tuition. "Mr. Harrison, I cannot accept this." He held up his hand. "Yes, you can and you will. I have also spoken to Human Resources. We have an opening in our facilities management department. It is a day position with better pay and benefits. If you are interested, the job is yours." Sarah felt tears streaming down her face. She thought of Emma and those new shoes. She thought of not having to work until midnight every night. She thought of being able to help her daughter become a nurse. "Thank you," she whispered. Over the following months, Sarah settled into her new role. She discovered she was good at managing people and systems. Mr. Harrison checked in on her occasionally. Their conversations grew longer. He told her about his late wife, who had passed 5 years earlier. She told him about raising Emma alone. They discovered they both loved old movies and classical music. They both believed in hard work and treating people with dignity. One evening, 6 months after that fateful night, Mr. Harrison invited Sarah to dinner. "Nothing fancy," he said, "just a thank you." They went to a quiet restaurant and talked for 3 hours. It felt easy and natural. At the end of the night, he walked her to her car. "Sarah, I know I am not a young man anymore," he said, "and I know our lives are very different. But these past months, getting to know you have been the happiest I have had in years. Would you consider having dinner with me again? Not as a thank you, but as a date." Sarah looked at this man who had shown her such kindness, who had seen her not as just a janitor, but as a person, who had given her daughter a future, but more than that, who made her laugh and listen when she talked. Yes, Alexander the First would like that very much. 2 years later, Sarah and Emma moved into Alexander's home. It was not about the money or the big house. It was about finding someone who saw your worth, who recognized that heroism comes in yellow cleaning gloves, who understood that the best things in life often come when you least expect them.